Did you know that EPEAT, a global ecolabel for IT hardware, has been evolving since 2006? From its inception to the 2026 update, EPEAT has continually raised the bar for sustainability. EPEAT's journey reflects a commitment to greener electronics, with governments and organizations worldwide relying on it to identify sustainable products. Let's explore how EPEAT has transformed over the years. The 2018 EPEAT criteria focused on reducing environmentally sensitive materials and promoting energy conservation. But the 2026 update takes it further, expanding criteria to address 4 priority sustainability impact areas. Now, let's see what's covered in the new EPEAT. EPEAT 2026 sets stricter sustainability standards across 4 key areas. First, climate action; second, circularity; third, safer chemicals; and fourth, responsible supply chains. EPEAT Bronze requires all mandatory criteria. Silver and Gold demand 50% and 75% optional points. Now, let's walk through each of the 4 focus areas. The purpose of climate change mitigation is to establish performance-based criteria that address carbon and other greenhouse gas emissions resulting from the manufacture and use of electronic products. It includes greenhouse gas, GHG life cycle emissions and assessment. Manufacturers are required to disclose each product's carbon footprint, verified by a third party, and conduct a full corporate GHG inventory covering Scopes 1, 2, and key Scope 3 emissions. Optional points are awarded for reporting transport-related emissions and publishing a third-party reviewed life cycle assessment, LCA. GHG reduction goals aligned with climate science. Manufacturers must set science-based GHG reduction targets: 4.2% annual average cuts for Scopes 1 and 2, and 2.5% for Scope 3, covering at least 67% of emissions. Optional points reward net zero commitments validated by SBTi or UN's Race to Zero, and supplier targets aligned with climate science. Manufacturing energy efficiency. EPEAT rewards manufacturers that implement ISO 50001 certified energy management systems at final assembly and key component facilities. Optional points are awarded for demonstrating energy performance improvements or public energy use disclosure across at least 25 to 50% of production spend. Manufacturers must verify third-party certifications or audits and disclose energy consumption data by country and fuel type. Renewable electricity. Manufacturers must demonstrate that at least 12.5% of electricity used in key facilities comes from renewable sources, beyond the default grid mix. Optional points are awarded for higher percentages, supplier engagement, and verified renewable sourcing. Electricity must come from approved sources, for example, solar, wind, and be tracked through credible certificates. High global warming potential chemicals in manufacturing, FGHGs. Manufacturers can earn optional points by reducing fluorinated greenhouse gas FGHG emissions from flat panel display and 300 mm semiconductor manufacturing per IEE 1680.1a criteria. These apply only if relevant components are present. Product energy efficiency. Products must meet current Energy Star criteria or equivalent energy requirements verified through accredited labs. External power supplies and battery charger systems must also meet US DOE or equivalent global efficiency standards. Testing applies to applicable voltages in EPEAT-registered countries. The purpose of sustainable use of resources is to reduce life cycle environmental impacts associated with resource consumption in electronics. It includes materials selection. This emphasizes sustainable materials by requiring manufacturers to disclose the percentage of post-consumer, reused, recycled, and/or bio-based plastics and metals used in products. Minimum thresholds vary by product type, with optional points for exceeding targets. Verification through certifications and documentation ensures transparency. Critical minerals and rare earth elements. This promotes responsible sourcing of critical minerals and rare earths. Manufacturers earn optional points by disclosing key minerals like cobalt and neodymium used in batteries, magnets, and displays. Additional points are awarded for verified recycled content or reuse of rare earth magnets and metals in lithium-based batteries. Product longevity. This criteria ensure electronics are built to last. Manufacturers must support firmware and OS updates for at least 5 years, offer durable designs tested against international standards, and include long-life batteries that retain performance after hundreds of cycles. Additional points reward intelligent battery software and reuse-friendly ports. Designed for repair, reuse, and recycling. To extend product life and promote sustainability, products must be designed for easy repair and reuse. Key components like batteries and enclosures must be accessible using standard tools. Plastic and electronic parts should be easily separable for recycling. Repair software must support part replacement without restricting functionality. Optional points reward manufacturers that avoid restrictive part pairing. Availability of repair services and recycling information. To support repair, reuse, and recycling, manufacturers must provide repair services and replacement parts for their products. For notebooks, tablets, and phones, public repair info, including disassembly guides, troubleshooting tips, and component lists, must be online. Additionally, manufacturers must share data on materials requiring special treatment under the EU directive to assist recyclers. Secure data deletion. To support secure reuse and recycling, manufacturers must provide data deletion solutions for both institutional and consumer users. These must meet recognized standards like IEE 2883 or NIST SP 800, 88 for HDDs, SSDs, and soldered storage. Optional points reward brands that publish public step-by-step sanitization instructions without extra tools or accounts, enabling secure refurbishment and longer product life. Responsible end-of-life management. Manufacturers must offer nationwide take-back services, prioritize reuse over disposal, and clearly inform customers about availability and any costs. Products must be processed by certified recyclers or approved programs that meet international standards like R2 or E-Stewards. Packaging and water inventory. EPEAT requires that at least 50% of packaging be made from recycled, renewable, or certified sustainable materials. Packaging must also be designed for easy separation and recycling. Optionally, manufacturers can earn extra points by reporting water use from key supplier facilities. Water inventories must include data on withdrawals, discharge, reuse, and whether water is sourced from stressed areas, promoting transparency and accountability in water stewardship. The purpose of reduction of chemicals of concern is to minimize environmental and health hazards by restricting and disclosing hazardous substances in products, manufacturing processes, and packaging. It includes management of substances in product. Products must meet EU RoHS, battery, and REACH chemical safety laws. Required actions include restricting lead, mercury, brominated flame retardants, and disclosing substances of very high concern, SVHCs. Optional points reward halogen-free plastics, PFAS and beryllium phase-out, and safer materials in prolonged skin contact. Compliance requires documentation, testing, and supplier controls to ensure safer, greener, and globally compliant IT products. Substance inventory and transparency. Manufacturers must track chemicals in products using the IEC 62474 list, covering substances of concern. They must request data for materials covering at least 80% of product weight. Optional points reward public disclosure and deeper supply chain transparency, including PFAS tracking. Hazard assessments and public disclosure. Manufacturers can earn points by assessing chemical hazards in key plastic parts, like flame retardants and plasticizers, using approved tools such as Green Screen or ChemForward. Safer substances earn more points. Assessments must be current, peer-reviewed, and conducted by qualified experts. Additional points are awarded for evaluating PFAS alternatives in semiconductors, batteries, or coatings. These efforts help shift toward safer, less toxic materials across the electronics supply chain. Manufacturing process chemicals. Manufacturers are encouraged to reduce high-hazard process chemicals used in production. Companies must identify priority chemicals, commit to phasing them out or minimizing exposure, and report annual progress. If safer alternatives aren't available, they must join collaborative efforts to find them. Alternatively, points can be earned by collecting detailed chemical use data from key manufacturing sites, including volumes, uses, and hazards. Substances of concern in packaging. Manufacturers must eliminate harmful substances in packaging to protect people and the environment. EPEAT requires no intentional use of lead, cadmium, mercury, hexavalent chromium PVC, or orthophthalates, and restricts chlorine-based bleaching. Optional points reward PFAS restrictions in packaging, with strict fluorine content limits. These measures ensure safer handling, recycling, and reduce pollution risks. The purpose of responsible supply chains is to establish performance-based criteria to mitigate labor and occupational health and safety risks in the electronics supply chain. It includes labor rights and occupational health and safety, OHS. Performance in the electronics supply chain. Manufacturers must commit to labor rights and OHS across their supply chains with audits for high-risk facilities. Suppliers must follow equivalent codes of conduct, and prioritized facilities must be audited under standards like SA 8000 or RBA VAP. Optional points reward transparency, such as publishing supplier lists, audit summaries, and worker engagement efforts. Environmental management systems. Manufacturers and their final assemblers must hold third-party certified environmental management systems, such as ISO 14001 or EU EMAS, for both product design and assembly operations. Responsible mineral sourcing. Manufacturers must identify 3TG and cobalt in their products and annually disclose sourcing due diligence aligned with OECD guidance. At least 65% of 3TG smelters must be verified as responsible sources. Optional points apply for 90%, 3TG or 75% cobalt conformance. Public procurers, here's what to watch for. Public procurers should specify the EPEAT in contracts awarded after, ensuring products meet at least the silver level. Use the EPEAT registry to verify product tiers and climate designations like gold. Update existing procurement policies to align with the new standard and manage transitions for multi-year contracts. In tenders, include clear EPEAT Gold requirements to support carbon reduction. Track EPEAT registered purchases and report environmental impact using GEC tools. These actions ensure compliance, promote climate leadership, and may qualify agencies for recognition under GEC's sustainable purchasing initiatives. Transitioning to EPEAT 2026 is crucial for future procurement, ensuring products meet the latest sustainability standards. By embracing these changes, we can drive meaningful environmental and social improvements. Take action today by reviewing your current practices and aligning them with EPEAT 2026. Together, we can make a positive impact on the environment and society. Let's lead the way in sustainable electronics.